Top of the day, beautiful people. Let's start our conversation here. If you joined us in our previous discussion about visualization, we talked about how to utilize your visualization and how to actually do the visualization. And then in the episode before that, we talked about the foundation of it, how visualization works. Today, what I want to really focus on is how visualization is the tool to bridge that gap of your identity. And the gap in your identity is there is a version of you, that inner child, that is carrying the wound. And then there's the adult version of you that is carrying the pain that is produced from that unhealed wound. That, for many of us, is the fractured state that we live our lives in. Visualization is the tool that allows you to bridge that gap. Visualization is the tool that allows you to integrate this adult version of you with this inner child version of you. And that is what we're going to talk about today, how you can utilize visualization as that tool to connect your pain to your power. Your pain to your power. All right? So if visualization disconnected you from yourself, if trauma disconnected you from yourself, then visualization is the tool that reconnects you. We often talk about healing like it's something you think your way into or it's something that you figure out. But healing isn't just about understanding your pain. Healing really is less about understanding and it's more about creating a new experience in the place of the old one. And that's where visualization becomes your superpower because you can't go back and change your past. You can't go back and change what happened to you. But through the power of visualization, you can go back and change the way that you experienced what happened to you. Because what your subconscious mind has been holding on to is the experience. What makes something an experience compared to just happening? An experience often involve all of your sensory factors. You can feel something, you touch something, you taste something, you smell something. The experience becomes that. The thing that you went through or the trauma is an experience because in that trauma, there's the feeling, there are the thoughts, there are the emotions, there's the energy, the frequency, the vibration. All of those elements are there. Visualization allows you to recreate all of those elements from a different perspective. Let's go back to the top. Welcome to the Courage to Heal. This specific series is on visualization and how visualization isn't just a mental exercise, it is the inner healing language of your nervous system. It is the inner healing language of your inner child. It is the inner healing language of your subconscious mind. So, the first thing that we covered was we explored the power of visualization with intention. The second thing that we covered was we walked through how to reframe trauma using visualization. But today, again, today is about how visualization connects the version of you who survived with the version of you who is ready to thrive. The version of you that survived with the person that is holding the next steps, your vision, your aspirations. When we make that connection, you no longer live in this fractured state of being in constant conflict with yourself, but you experience wholeness or holiness. Whole nother conversation. Kira, I believe I just saw you pop in. Happy healing to you. Kiki, happy healing to you as well. Kathy, happy healing to you and welcome to the conversation. Kathy says, good morning. I'm new. Chosen here. Checked my TikTok. God's timing is now. Chosen here. Checked my TikTok. I'm going to agree with that. You're supposed to be here. We're supposed to be here. Let's get to work. I believe that's what you were saying. So let's get to work. All right. So we started with whatever trauma has disconnected in your life, we can use visualization to reconnect. When trauma happens, there's often a severing of your identity. What does that mean, coach? What you end up experiencing, and what I want you to think about it is, at the point of that traumatic event, there's certain things that now come into question. For instance, who was I before the event happened? I often say to people, many people live their healing journey trying to add things to their life. If I can just add the right teaching, the right coaching, the right understanding, the right relationship, the right achievements, the right amount of money, the right possessions, when really what we do with healing is just removing something. Instead of adding all those things to your life, I can give you a simple path to being healed again. Just remove the limiting belief that was born out of that unhealed trauma. So at the point that you experience the traumatic event, there is a severing of your identity because you start to ask or you start to wonder, or there is a question of who was I before it happened? And then another important question is who I had to become to survive the thing. And then equally, if not more important, what version of me did I lose along the way? Who I was before the trauma happened is if I simply remove the lie that was born out of the unhealed trauma, there lies the person that I was before this event. There lies the person that is whole, that is complete, that is lovable, that is worthy, that is all the things that the lie have been limiting me to accept and understand about myself. Who I had to become to survive it is the persona or the personality that I had to create in order to feel safe in the environment that produced that wound for me. And the version of me that I lost along the way are the parts of me that I had to learn to suppress just to survive. The version of me that I lost along the way are the parts of my character, or the parts of my personality that I had to be ashamed of because those parts of me were rejected by the people that were supposed to be nurturing me. Those are the parts of the versions of me that I lost along the way. And that is how the traumatic event severs our identity. Because it makes us question who we was before the event. It makes us question who we had to become in order to survive. And then lastly, we lose a part of ourself along the way. But visualization becomes the way to reintroduce yourself to every part of you. Because how else can you go back and speak to the version of you that had the experience? How else can you connect to the part of you that still holds on to the belief that you're not lovable, that you're not good enough? You can do that through visualization. And that's what we teach you through the Trauma to Triumph Healing Challenge. So if you're just joining us, my name is Coach Kohn. I'm the founder of Happy Healing Health and Life Coaching Services. My niche or my focus is on childhood trauma. We've developed an inner child healing method that we call the Trauma to Triumph Healing Method. And we've captured this healing method in our Healing Challenge. The Healing Challenge is a 12-week challenge that you can enroll in. We're currently open for enrollment. We're actually in week number 4. There's 2 more weeks when you can still enroll in this current challenge. The purpose of the challenge is not so that you can come and have some type of emotional experience and then go on about your way. What's different with the Trauma to Triumph Healing Challenge, we are going to teach you this healing method. So we developed this method in a way that we can teach it to anybody that have had some form of a childhood trauma. And it's not just something that you can do while you're with me over these next 12 weeks, but it's a skill that you're going to take into your life. Because healing is not a destination, and oftentimes we say healing is a journey, but we don't really say what that means. Your life is the journey. Healing is the skill that you perfect throughout your life. So that's what this conversation is about for those of you that are joining us. The foundation of this inner child healing method that I have developed is reframing your past experiences. You do this reframing through visualization. And what I've done this week is I've given this community a foundational understanding of the power of visualization in healing your inner child wound. So let's keep building. Again, visualization becomes the way to reintroduce yourself to all of you, to reintroduce yourself to the parts of you that you've been suppressing and hiding and ashamed of, to reintroduce yourself to the parts of you that have been carrying that wound. Because what trauma splits, you can stitch back together through visualization. Visualization bridges your inner child with the empowered adult. Because throughout your life, there's always been this fracture where your ambitions, your dreams, the things that you want seem to be getting hindered, or seem to be getting stifled, or seem to be getting sabotaged by something inside of you that does not agree that you are capable, or that you are worthy, or that you have it, that you can do the thing that you are aspiring to do. That is that disconnect. The inner child is carrying an unhealed wound that often produces a limiting belief that I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not able, I'm not capable, all of those things. And the adult version of you continues to bear the pain of those limiting beliefs. And visualization becomes the bridge to where that inner child can connect with this adult version of you. And as I always say, the reason why many of us are stuck is because we're waiting for someone else to come and rescue us from the trauma. We're waiting for the person or the caregivers that didn't love us properly to finally change and be the loving parents that we need them to be. We often look for the relationship to come and do that thing when in fact you, this adult version of you, you are the hero that your inner child is waiting for. And we equipped you through visualization to go back and rescue your inner child from what I like to call the tower of your trauma. So visualization connects your past pain, the wound, to all of your future potential that you carry today. And through visualization and bridging this gap, we also allow you to release all of the versions of you that you've been suppressing, hiding, and running from because the world may have rejected those parts of you. Let's go back a little bit, and I want to again give you some reinforcement on why visualization works. Here's the truth. Visualization is not something new that you have to learn, something that I have to teach you, because you are already doing it. You've been doing it your whole life. Every time you relive an argument that you had with someone a day ago, an hour ago, 2 weeks ago, you're using your visualization. Every time you imagine the worst case scenario for the outcome that you do not desire, that is your visualization. Every time you replay your past mistakes or you replay that pain, you're using your visualization. The problem isn't that you can't visualize. The problem is that you've only used it to survive. And now we're going to teach you how to utilize visualization to heal. Because here's the thing. If you can picture your pain, if you can picture your trauma, then you can picture yourself being whole. Then you can picture yourself being healed. Then you can also envision the other side. Visualization is how you start to practice what you're becoming. I want y'all to hold on to that for a second. Visualization is how you start to practice who you're becoming. What does that mean, coach? Visualization is more than just seeing, it's rehearsing who you're becoming, it's rehearsing the outcome. Give me a little more, coach. Athletes use visualizations to win championships. How so? They visualize themselves performing at their highest level before the game even starts. It's no coincidence that high-performing athletes use visualization. They see themselves at the end result. They see themselves holding up the championship. They see themselves performing whatever the task is. Musicians see themselves performing the concert, playing the keys or whatever it is. Visualization is something that people are using every single day. Speakers use visualization to command the stage. I often visualize myself delivering whatever speech or whatever speaking engagement that I'm going to. I visualize myself executing whatever that message is before I even get there, because I'm preparing myself. I'm rehearsing for the outcome that I desire. So if you are not using visualization to see yourself doing the thing or being the person that you desire, how are you going to become without practice? Tell me, how is it that, easy shot, how is it that LeBron James became who he is if he didn't have to practice being that good? We don't think about visualization as practice. And we don't think of the fact that I need to practice being the person that I am becoming. I need to practice being more patient. Well, how do I do that? I can practice when an obstacle or adversity faces me, then I have to practice being patient in that moment. Yes, that is one way. But another secret that I can use my visualization to do, I can imagine myself being in a situation with a person that often tests my patience. And I can imagine myself being patient in those moments, so that when I do encounter that person, or when I encounter a situation that's similar to that situation, I've already taken my mind, my body, and my emotion through the steps. That's what practice does. That's why athletes practice. That's why they say you're going to play only as good as you practice. Well, how can I play the life that I want? How can I live the life that I want? How can I be the person that I desire to be if this person is very much different than who I am today? If I never practice, I expect that I'm just going to become it. That's why many of us get frustrated on our journey. We expect that if I want to be this new version of me, I'm just going to become this new version of me overnight. So when we fall short, or when we find ourselves repeating old patterns, we're so harsh on ourselves because we thought that it was supposed to be an instant change in my life. As if champions became a champion instantly. It takes practice. It takes work. That is the same way that you have to utilize your visualization in the process of becoming something better, someone new. And really, it's not becoming someone new. This is simply a process of removing the lies that have been hiding the awesome person that you've always been. When we're talking about healing and rehearsing or practicing visualization, we use it to rehearse safety. We use it to rehearse peace. And we use it to rehearse power. It's not pretending, it's introducing your nervous system to a new truth. And that truth is that you are seen, that you are loved, that you are at peace, and that you are powerful. And the more that your system sees that, the more that you experience that, even in your visualization, it becomes the more you believe it. And the more you believe it, the more it begins, or the more it begins. Let me take you back. Many of us think that I have to believe a thing. There are things that you believe about yourself that your system does not believe. So visualization allows you to show your system that you are seen, that you are loved, that you are at peace, and that you are powerful again. Because for many of us, our system is used to running the program that our trauma gave us. That we weren't safe, that we aren't loved, that we are not at peace, that we are not powerful. Many of us are used to operating under those directions, under that umbrella. And until we start to show our system a different way to operate, that's always going to be our automatic response. I want you to think about this. If every time something triggers you, you've always reacted in a visceral way with anger, and you never practice reacting in a different way, explain to me how you expect in an instant of a moment that you're just going to perform. That's like an that's like an athlete saying, I don't have to go to practice. I'm just going to show up and be great at what I do. Is that Zakia? Zakia, happy healing to you. I did. I saw your enrollment in the Trauma to Triumph Healing Challenge. Zakia, congratulations. Welcome back into the challenge. I will be sending you all of your masterclass information so that you can access the masterclass tonight at 8 p.m. So keep a lookout for your email right after this. I will make sure I send out that in masterclass information so you can make it to class. Okay? So again, it's important that you allow your system to see that you are seen, that you're loved, that you're at peace, and that you have power. And the way that you allow your system to see that, the way that you allow yourself to experience that, the way that you allow yourself to practice and rehearse that is through your visualization. Because the more that your system sees it, the more your system believes it. And the more your system believes it, the more your system begins to live it. In the same way that they told you weren't good enough, you weren't good enough. And then eventually you started to believe it. And the more that you believe it, you started living like you weren't good enough. It is the same process in using your visualization to create new experiences to give you a different outcome. Because your nervous system believes what it sees. If your system has been introduced to an environment where you have not felt safe until you start to show yourself that safety is okay, your nervous system is going to keep reacting to the old information. So you have to show it something worth becoming. You have to show yourself. You have to visualize something worth fighting for, because sometimes it becomes a fight. Some of us visualize failure every time we try to do something new and don't even realize it. I want you to know that with your limiting belief that I am not good enough comes a visual of whatever produced or whatever situation that you're facing. When that limiting belief shows up and says, oh, we're not going to be able to do it, you are visualizing yourself failing at the thing. How we utilize visualization as a form of reframing is, in this situation, in this scenario where you visualize failure every time you try something new, and you somewhat rehearse the rejection, you rehearse the humiliation, you rehearse the judgment. Here's a practice that you can use if that is your reality, and you can apply this no matter what your old patterns are. Whatever it is that you desire to do, to be, the actions that you desire to take, I want you to close your eyes. So for the person that envisions failure every time they try something new, I want you to close your eyes and visualize speaking up. I want you to see yourself grounded. I want you to hear yourself speaking with calm. Feel the sense of pride in yourself in showing up. You have the ability to create for yourself any experience that benefits you. This is how we teach the system that we are no longer in survival mode. Visualize yourself being who you desire to be. Even if right now you're still struggling with anger, start visualizing yourself being calm in situations where your anger overcomes or overtakes you. Even if you're still overwhelmed with anxiety when things go wrong, I want you to start visualizing situations where things are going wrong and yet you are remaining calm. By doing this visualization, you're showing your subconscious mind a new path. Not only that, you're creating new neural paths for your brain to travel, a new response. You're giving yourself different options than the one that you've known most of your life. And this is what makes the visualization practice inside the Trauma to Triumph Challenge so powerful. Because for many people, the common truth is, Coach, I only know one way to live. My body only knows how to react a certain way. I only know how to respond a certain way. Well, let us show you a different way. Because here, with the Trauma to Triumph Healing Challenge, we're not just going to tell you to heal. We show you how to experience it, one vision at a time, one tool at a time. And for us, visualization is not just a tool. It becomes a part of your daily or weekly practice, where you walk through building a safer inner world, where you're constantly guiding your inner child into that safer world, where we teach you how to rehearse. We teach you rehearsing the identity that you want to live from instead of continuing to relive the identity that you're trying to get out of. And then finally, we're going to teach you how to rewrite the story so that it no longer runs your life. For many people, visualization is something that you just do flippantly or something that you rarely do. But what we're going to show you through the Trauma to Triumph Healing Challenge is the true power in visualization to help you to heal that inner child wound. And again, we still have 2 weeks of open enrollment for this current challenge, and you can still use the promo code FIRMDECISION 2025 to save an additional $200 off of your enrollment. There are only a few spots left, and again, we're only opening enrollment for this challenge for 2 more weeks. If you're healing, I want you to think about this. Healing does not have to be a guessing game where you're constantly trying to figure out what to do or when I do it. We're going to give you a simple step-by-step process over 12 weeks. Not only do you get the 2 weekly masterclass sessions with myself, but you also get your Express Ship workbook, where all 12 sessions are going to be right there in the workbook, where you never have to figure out what's next. You never have to ask yourself, how do I do these exercises? Because every exercise in the workbook has an example that accompanies it to make it easy for you to actually execute that exercise. We give you the framework, we give you the tools, and we give you the weekly live support so that you can do this work for real. If you're interested in enrolling in the Trauma to Triumph Healing Challenge, please do check out the link tree in my bio or check out the description of this video, where you will find a link that will take you to our website, happyhealing.com. That's HAPPYHEALIN.com. Let's finish up our work for the day. I want to leave you all with this. Our mind replays. Our body remembers. But at our core, the piece of consciousness that you are, that piece of consciousness, that piece of source that connects you to the all, within that part of you lies the strength and the power, there's the mouse drop, to accomplish any change in your life. There is no obstacle that you don't have the power within you to overcome. However, for many of us, what we see becomes what we believe. And what you believe becomes how you live. So stop rehearsing your fears and start rehearsing your freedom using the power of visualization. For those of you that are joining this conversation on YouTube and on any other platform, I thank you for being a part of this very meaningful conversation and being a part of this very meaningful series on the power of visualization in healing your childhood trauma. I ask that you do like and subscribe to the page, as well as turn on your notification bell so that you're notified whenever we release new content. I love you all, and as always, happy healing.